Mr. Gethers, you there?
I am.
Yes, sir. There we go. Let's see how this is going to do.
I'll change my lighting.
It's not going to let me go to Facebook Live, so that works for me. Yeah, get that light. You know you're a little too dark for that, bro.
Right, I know, man. What I might have to do, I know what I might have to do. I'm gonna have to put the light behind me. I bring
There we
my
go. There
sit
we
to the
go.
side.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, okay. She said she's going to put it on afterwards, so that we're good. Welcome everyone to Pep Talks, frank conversations about the state of education. My name is Leon Theodore. Let's do this intro. Welcome back, everyone. It's actually the first for the 2022 years, and I'm excited to be here. I have a great panelist today. The disparities in our school discipline system, both nationally and here in Dallas, call attention to the need for change in our school culture. The use of zero tolerance practices and the over disciplining of our youth of color, specifically Black youth, have continued the flow of Black boys and girls into the school to prison pipeline. Our educational system spends vast amounts of money for security services and minuscule amounts comparatively on the mental and emotional well-being of our youth. Systemic racism, racist practices, and policies have impacted communities of color, but specifically Black communities, creating wealth and achievement gaps that spill into our school system. Implicit bias, a lack of cultural awareness, consistently criminalize Black student behavior while dismissing and minimizing the same behavior in other students. Zero tolerance practices and policies are proven not to change students' behavior, but increase aggression and disengage youth from the learning process. Learning is not one size fit all. Moving our educational culture from deficit thinking toward a whole child approach is the goal of PEP. And today we're talking with David Gethers, sorry about that, David, of DAG Speaks. He's an author, mentor, and a motivational speaker, and a whole lot more. So, uh, welcome, David. I want to welcome to you this. Y'all, I really want to say this right here. I just met this brother, but it's already a little connection there. So it's like, yeah, I'm ready to do some work with him. So, David, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and say a little something, and then we'll get started in this. Okay?
Okay, well, my name is David A. Gethers. I'm an author of a book called Weekday Remedies, WEAK Day Remedies. It takes a cognitive look at the effects of adversity on our lives, our mindsets, and our actions and our decisions. I have a master's degree in urban ministry. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I live here in Texas now. I've been here since July of 2020. One of my mentoring programs, as you can see, is Defy the Odds, helping people overcome adversity, setbacks, heartbreaks, and disappointments to get to the other side and experience the goodness that life has to offer. How do I know this? Not because I heard it, read it, saw it, or saw somebody else go through it, but I myself went through it. You want me to tell them a little bit about my story, Leon?
And you do what you do. I'm here with you, man.
Okay, so in 1996, I got out of the Marine Corps, and when I got out of the Marine Corps, I really didn't have no plans for my life, and so I went back to Chicago. And anytime you return to a place, or anytime you go to a place, and you don't have a plan and a purpose for your life, or direction for your life, you can easily be stirred in any direction by society, by peers, by circumstances, whatever. I fell into that category, not having a plan and purpose for my life. So, making a long story short, I ended up getting into an altercation. I took another young man's life. And so I began the next 17-year journey of going into trial, then ultimately losing the trial, then being sentenced to 30 years in the Illinois Department of Correction, given an outdate of 2028 as my earliest possibility for parole, in order to return to society. But because God had a different plan, He had a different purpose, and he definitely had a promise for my life. He was like, you know what? I'm going to take that 30-year prison sentence. I'm going to reduce it to 15 years, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to carry out this plan, purpose, and promise that I have for your life. And I got out, immediately enrolled in college, got my first degree, which was my bachelor's degree in 2016, got my second degree, which was my master's degree in 2019. And from there, I've been on this journey helping people transform their lives, because if I can overcome first degree murder, 30-year prison sentence, and the various stigmas and the barriers placed before me, then I'm crazy enough to believe that everybody else can do the same thing. And that's me. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Now let's unpack what young black men need in order to be successful.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So if you guys are here, you see why that's why my brother is here tonight. He and I share some similarities. I wasn't for 15 years, but we both shared that the passion for Black young men to see their futures change, for kids that have experienced the wrong side of the law or the disciplined population in schools, and just have experienced, not like you said, not having direction. And it's a beautiful thing. Like when you talk to this brother, it's a beautiful thing to see that. So in our education system currently, it's hard for youth in general, especially in these times, but especially for our youth, to find things that are relevant, things that are culturally competent, that they speak to them, right? So how important is it? And mentoring is not built into our education system, right? Like it's something they don't get mentoring in there. How important do you think it is for mentoring to be like built into their bell schedule, their day to day?
I believe mentoring is very important, especially in our community, in our culture, in our, just our sphere of life. The reason why it's important, because most young African American men come from communities where there are no positive role models. We come from communities where, hell, there's not even that many success stories. I'm from Inglewood. I'm from a community in Chicago called Inglewood. I'm 49 years old. I'm looking over the landscape of all the friends in whom I grew up with. So this is where I'm supposed to get my identification from. This is where I'm supposed to get my leadership from. This is where I'm supposed to get of the tools I need to be successful from. And so when I look at my friends, most of them are dead, strung out on drugs, in prison, and I'm not to slight anybody, or just living a mediocre life. And so you expect me, because I'm from an underfunded community, under-resourced community, undervalued community, and you expect me to be successful coming up in that community. Unfortunately, my odds of success are slim to none. So now, if I can't get the leadership and the identification and the tools I need from my community, as a society, especially as a school system, if you expect me to succeed, then if I'm not getting it from my community, then damn it, you might as well give it to me in my school system. And these school systems, these administrators, these shot callers, these stakeholders, they know the demographic of the students in their school building. They know the community where these kids come from. They know the barriers that these kids are facing. They know that these communities are undervalued. They know that they're underserved. They know they're underfunded. So since you know this, then at least attempt to give me what I need from the school system. Don't just give me an education, mentor me, tutor me, give me just as much of a chance for success as all the other school systems give their students. You know my community ain't giving it to me. So why won't you give it to me? Won't you take the responsibility of education much more seriously and say, you know what? Mentoring is going to be a part of the program. We're not going to wait till they get in trouble. We're not going to wait till when they have a truancy issue. We're not going to wait till they start failing. No, the first day they walk into that school building in elementary school, have curriculums and mentoring programs designed to begin to teach these young boys and these young women various things that they're going to need in order to be successful in life. And so
Is
I
that not
agree.
what it, but so you're gonna, we're gonna hear, but that's what we do already. Have you experienced that in Chicago? Because let me ask, I'll say it like that, where you've mentored and brought your program, have you experienced that? Have you seen that someone, principal, a school system or schools get to say, we have that already, we're doing that already?
In the black community, in the black schools, absolutely not.
Okay.
That's why I was so successful in Chicago, because the school systems, especially in the Chicago public school system, they did not have mentoring programs. You got these young black boys that's growing up. They, again, we cannot deny the community that they come from. They seeing the drug dealers, they're seeing the quote unquote athletes, they're seeing the quote unquote shot callers, they're seeing the gang bangers, they're seeing all of these people have a measure of success in their community, and they have no fathers in the home. And so I know for me, I didn't grow up with no father. So I'm standing on the corners with the gang bangers and the drug dealers. That's who I'm on the corner talking to, kicking it with. These are the individuals I'm idolizing. I'm like, man, I want to be like dude when I get older. I want a pocket full of money. I want the girls. I want the fancy car. I want the jewelry. I want people scared of me, looking up to me, revering me, all this. And all of this is foolishness that I'm seeing. But because this is all I'm seeing, this is all I'm being exposed to, this is what I am trying to emulate. So now, if you start to bring successful black men into the school, mentoring me, now you give me a different vision. You give me a different path. You give me different options. I was telling you when we met, my mama told me to go get a job or go to the military. Wasn't nobody telling me nothing about no college. I ain't learned about college until I got into the Marine Corps. They were like, man, we got this thing called a GI Bill. You can go get a college degree. I'm like, okay, well, it's too late now. I'm in the service. But it's important that representation is very important. I don't mean to make this a black and white thing, but you look at some of these affluent school districts, their children see successful people on a regular basis. They're bringing successful people in to talk to them, to work with them. They have career days, and on their career days, they bringing in everybody to talk to little Johnny and Susie Mae to make sure that they understand that corporate America awaits you, college awaits you, success awaits you. And so these young kids in these affluent school systems, they are aspiring to be this greatness. But in underfunded, undervalued, and under-resourced communities, the bar isn't that high for us. So we ain't aspiring to greatness. Now, do one or two of us make it out and become successful? Absolutely. But that's a small amount for our community.
I'm glad you said two things that I want to bring up, because I think about, you said successful men, right? And
Mm-hmm.
TCJE, Texas Center for Justice and Equity, we're here, aspiring. We have something called Statewide Leadership Council, right? So it's system impacted youth. I mean, people that are doing things in the community, that are making changes, creating laws, helping do policy work, doing things like that. You said successful people.
I'm sorry.
How important is it for people out here to know that it's okay for folks like me and you? We're successful, right?
Correct.
It's not about where I've been. It's about what I've done to overcome and change. That's the first thing. So I know you don't, but how important is it to have people such as yourself, myself, and others like us in the schools leading mentoring programs?
I believe it's important that individuals like yourself, myself, be in schools leading mentoring programs because part of it is representation. Uh, we hey, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We screwed up. We failed. We've got it wrong. And in spite of that, we've bounced back. So we know how we have faced adversity. We have faced some of life's most difficult challenges. And in spite the barriers, in spite the hardship, in spite the challenges, we have bounced back. So you and I are going into schools where kids are facing adversities. And so in the midst of their adversities, they want hope. They want to see someone who's faced similar adversities and have overcame the adversities. For instance, you live in a community and there's 20 people. All 20 people have failed. You're the 21st person of this community. And you got 20 people who have failed. You will automatically assume that you're going to be the next failure from the community. Do you want to be a failure? Absolutely not. But when you look at the road ahead, you look at those who came before you, and all you see is failure, 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 failure. Even if you desire to be great, you're going to start thinking to yourself, damn, do I really got a chance to be successful? And so you begin to succumb to your mindset. You begin to succumb to what you see. And so you lose hope. You lose faith. You begin to even lose the drive to want better. Uh, there's this movie I like. It's a crazy movie with Jack Nichols, Gene Hunt, and a few other people. And the title of the movie is called As Good as It Gets. And in this movie, his life is relegated to the inside of his house, his apartment. He has all these fears, all these phobias. He just got all this stuff going on in his mind. And so he's trapped in his house and can't even really enjoy life. So he meets the lady that plays Gene Hunt. He meets her. And little by little, she begins to expose him to a different lifestyle.
Yes.
And at the end of the movie, you see him skipping down the sidewalk.
I
Now
remember that movie.
he
Yeah.
still got his issues. He comes to a crack and he walks, gingerly over the crack. He's still dealing with his issues, but he's out of his house. He's been exposed. And he now begins to realize that there is a different life for him
Right.
because he was exposed to it by somebody from the outside. So if you and I could get into these school districts and we could take these very kids who facing numerous of adversities and we begin to share our story with them and let them know, hey, I faced similar adversities. I've been to prison. I grew up in a single family home. I grew up with a parent that was addicted, or I grew up in this type of community. I grew up here. I grew up there. But in spite of all of that, I managed to overcome, bounce back, and become successful. Now that kid, he has two visions he can begin to look at. Yeah, I can look at those who have failed and didn't make it out, but I also see those who have made it out and who have become successful. So now he begins to have options. And so we have to get into the school districts and we have to begin to give them different options, different visions, different paths, different narratives. Because if you're only hearing one narrative, you've only seen one path, you're only hearing one voice, then you're going to believe that that's all that, as the movie said, you're going to believe this is good as it gets. And you're not going to inspire for anything greater.
Got
So it's representation matters. If you
got
take a poor kid and you bring this rich CEO in, and there's no connection between the two in no shape, form, or fashion, the kid isn't going to think like, yeah, you telling me I can make it, but you went to an Ivy League school, you had mentoring programs, you had this, you had that, you had all the trappings to ensure you made it and were successful. I don't. So yeah, it's easy for you to say you can make it. I don't have those things available to me. I like Tupac said, I need to see the concrete, the road that grew from the concrete. I need to see somebody who faced life's challenges and made it. And when that person tell me, hey, no matter what you face, you can make it, then I'll start to have hope again. Then I'll start to believe again. Then I'll start to, gather myself and say, you know what, I'm gonna get some resolve about myself and I'm going to overcome this and I'm gonna be successful too. Because I done seen people come from where I come from and they've made it.
There we go. All right. So again, weekday, WEAKDAY, weekday remedies. I want you to talk a little bit about the book. I
Okay.
want you all to go get this book, Weekday Remedies. You see it. I want you to utilize this gentleman in his services here in Dallas. Proven track record. Please. So, David, tell me the history behind Weekday Remedies. Why is it called Weekday Remedies? Tell me how this works with the youth.
So Weekday Remedies, WEAK Day Remedies, is a book that actually never had the intentions of becoming a book. While I was in prison, I was journaling. I was writing down my thoughts. I was trying to get out of my head. I was trying to figure out life. And so I just started writing, 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 writing. And so when I come home and I start mentoring young men, a group asked me, could they read my journal? And I was like, can you read my journal? Like, hell no, this is my pain. This is my suffering. This is my hardship. No, you can't read my journal. And so I went home though, and that question started burning away at me. And then I asked myself, if you're going to teach someone about transformation, then you got to be willing to share your pain, to show them, you know, what you're going through, what you've been through. And so I'm like, you know what? Let me get a few of these, journal entries together, and let me just Xerox them and see what happens. So I get the journal entries, I Xerox them, I take them to my mentoring class, and we begin to read the journal. So we read them, we unpacked them, and then the young men start writing about them and how whatever topic we were discussing, they wrote about how it was affecting their own personal lives. And and so I saw a change in this group immediately because again, representation matters. They was like, we can see his real pain. We can see his real struggles. We can see his real hardships. Not only can we see him, he's right here in front of us, and we can ask him whatever question we want to ask him in order to help us further understand his transformation.
Yeah.
And so with that group, and I saw the transformation that they made, I was like, okay, this might be something. So I went through my journals, got a collection of them, and I said, I'm gonna put these in a book. And so the title Weekday Remedy came because in life, when we're facing adversity, we're all looking for a remedy. We're looking for a solution. We're looking for a way out. We're looking for a way to ease the pain that we're facing. So we use drugs, we use alcohol, we use sex, we use gambling, we use people, we use lying. There is a plethora of accoutrements that we use in order to ease the pain that we're feeling. And so I said, let my journals be remedies for their weak days. And I use the word weak as in difficult days, hard days, days that I don't understand, days that I just can't muster the strength to make it. These are weak days for me. And on these days, I am looking for a remedy. And so, Weekday Remedies by David A. Gethers is remedies and solutions for the pains and difficulties that we face in life. And so, the world, my mentoring groups, of anybody who grabs a hold of one of these books, they get a chance to read my pain, experience my transformation, and then take that same book and journal about how the topic that they read about, how it affects their life.
Right. You know, when we had lunch, uh, we was talking about what was great about you, man, is how serious you are, like just how down to earth. So, we were talking about, because what we're talking about is social emotional learning, right? And a lot of things, what I've been doing with having conversations with teachers, community, other entities in the school system, a lot of people don't understand. You hear social emotional learning, but teachers are asking, well, how do you really implement this, right? How
Right.
is it going to actually make it to the kids? You just giving me stuff that sounds good, right? And when you started talking about weekday remedies, and we were talking, I was like, yeah, this brother get it. That's really social emotional learning, right? Because it has to be relevant to the kids, which is why we're there in the schools. It has to look like something that they can accomplish, and it has to teach them how to have empathy, how to grow, how to make a plan for stuff. I was thoroughly impressed with you. I was thoroughly impressed with the book. Um, and I keep going back to that successful men, right?
Hmm.
Because I said something to you when we were talking, and I said you don't look like what you did, right?
Right.
And we were laughing because it's like both of us get that whole, both of us like, where we were at really was the best thing for us, right? Like it
Yeah.
changed my life, right? So, and you were saying about not walking around sad, right? And
Yeah.
that's the things that I think, true social emotional learning, relevant social emotional learning, um, things that need to be implemented, is teaching them that, like your book says, you can have a weekday, but there's a remedy for it that can help you move forward. You can put a plan together, and we can make it out of here. And I think that's, for me, um, why I do what I do, right? Because it is. I've seen my life go from, man, I didn't know what I was going to do, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then here I am with this, right? And a lot of times I just sit back, and you said something else when we first talked. I said, "How's your day?" You said, "Ask me after if it's good. Every day is good, right? Because
Yeah, with house money.
yeah. I'm not supposed to be here. After 2028, you can ask me." And I was thinking about that. Yeah, that helped me change my attitude a lot, right? Because I ain't even supposed to be here, and I really appreciate you. I really appreciate the book. The book is amazing, Um, tell me what you think would be the next step for you. What is your next step now that you're here in Dallas, that you brought your experience from Chicago? What's next for you?
What's next for David A. Gathers, man? My next steps is to connect with as many people possible in the Dallas space who are truly dedicated to making a difference in the lives of our African American youth. I want to connect with every single person possible, every organization, every business, because if we can can come together as a whole, there is no limit to what we can do. We have, as a community, we are some of the strongest people on the face of this earth. Why in the hell do you think they come against us so hard? Because they know we have the resolve to be successful. I'm not supposed to be successful. They tell, man, when I walked out of the prison doors, they were told me, I'll see you back within 3 years. Recidivism rate is almost 70% within the first 3 years. 70%. That is extremely high. So you mean to tell me if 100 guys get out of prison, within 3 years, 70 of them are going back to prison? Why is that? Because of barriers, because systemic racism, because of redlining, because of tape, because of societal programming, because the way people vision incarceration or the way people envision ex-felons. All of these things are designed to ensure that we go back to prison. But if we could transform the mentality of society when it comes to ex-offenders. If we could take society and begin to parade before them successful men who have transformed their lives, society will begin to take a different approach. Case in point, I got out of prison in September. I immediately went to enroll in college, and they had the mitigated galls to tell me I couldn't come to college because I was an ex-offender. What in the hell does me going to prison got to do with you giving me access to a book, to a building, and a teacher? You know what I'm saying? But it's laws and mentalities and barriers such as this. If I didn't have the resolve, if I didn't have the faith, the hope, and the gumption to say, you know what, in spite what I'm going through, I am going to face this challenge head on and become successful. Everybody, unfortunately, don't have this resolve. So you say, what's next for me? To give out this resolve, to give out this hope, to give out this encouragement, to give out this faith, to wrap my arms around young black men and young black women and tell them you're somebody special, you're somebody beautiful, you're somebody successful, you're somebody who can make it. To give them my book for free if I have to teach my mentoring classes for free if I have to, because it's not about the money, it's not about people seeing me, it's about getting into our community, doing the work, and giving our people an opportunity at success. Again, I don't want to be the one-off. I don't want to be the minority. I don't want to be the phenomenon. No, everybody facing adversity should be successful. Everybody who face adversity should have an opportunity to be successful. I don't care if you've been raped. I don't care if you've been molested. I don't care if you had a child at 16. I don't care if your mother struck out on drugs. I don't care if you come from a single family home. I don't care if you don't know your daddy. I don't care if you've been to prison. I don't care what the school system has did to you. I don't care what your community has did to you. So damn what? They did it to me too. But in spite what has happened to me, that is no excuse for me to be a failure. Adversity is not an excuse for failure. Stand your ass up, dust yourself off, and get back at it. And my next step is to help every man, woman, boy, girl, school system, organization. My job is to help them dust themselves off and get back at it. I want them to get back to living. I want them to have their hope again. I want them to realize that this is just a page in the book of my life. And this one page does not define who I am. This one page is not the totality of who I am. It is just a page. I have put a period there. Let's turn the page and let's begin to write a new story about who you are.
Hey, man, I believe your passion, bro. Your passion gonna take you everywhere you need to go. Your plan and your resolve is what's gonna keep you there. So I know you're gonna get there, and I'm gonna do everything I can. Like I said, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, weekday remedies. Let me see if I can get this out of this light so they can see this good, man. Weekday remedies, David Gethers. Really, the passion is not just here. It follows through when you meet him. It follows through when you talk to him. And I know that whatever, me and you getting ready to do some things here because
And we got work
I
to do,
think
man. We
yeah,
got
we
work
got
to
work
do.
to do. We got work to do.
We
And
got
it
lives to
really is,
change.
yes. And it really is that, I'm currently in conversation with the school who it's a Black school. And the beautiful thing about that, in all of this that we're struggling with, like kids being treated as if, they're a problem and they're kicking these kids out. This school has done an amazing job of not like keep putting these kids into the discipline system, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've sat there and I've watched them how the assistant principal handles issues, how the principal handles issues, how they really do this, and their willingness to bring programs into the school, right? That's gonna help change these kids' lives. That's what I want, like you said, for all of especially our schools. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good with every school, but I'm here. Do they look like me? They come from me. We all come from the same thing. So I get you. And that's another part of social emotional learning. We have to learn how to work together, right?
Yeah.
And if you can't work together, you said something to me when we were at lunch. You said something about you can only go if you want to be, what was it you said? If you want to be,
If you want to go fast, go by yourself. You
yes,
want to go far, go with someone else.
yes. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. That's exactly what I'm doing with this. I just wanted to bring you on tonight so I can highlight your excellence, highlight who you are, highlight your program so that you can. So,
I thank you very much, sir.
yes, sir. I thank you for your service, man. I thank you for your passion. And I just thank you that you believe enough in yourself that there is no barrier that can stop you.
None
So,
whatsoever.
yes, sir. So, usually this is the time I do another shameless plug for my
Okay.
brothers and sisters. So he's done some things you've done a class at, where have you done your classes so far here in Dallas?
So far here in Dallas, I did some work with this organization called Ruthie's, fueled by Cafe Momentum.
Yes.
It's called Ruthie's Cafe. The workers there, they call them fellows. And so I took a group of about 10 to 15 fellows through a 4-week transformation process. I
Okay.
got a phone call. They was like, man, we think our young men could use uh, a little a little workshopping, if you will, a little programming with what you're doing, to give them that reality check, or to just get them to have a conversation around what they got going on in their life, where they're going with their life, and to realize that don't take that woe is me mentality towards life, but to be like,
Sure.
okay, yeah, I screwed up. I faced some hard things, but I'm finna bounce back, and that's one of the most important things I try to get people to understand. Hey, look, you ain't. I'm not finna cry over no spilled milk. You ain't finna rub my face in what I did wrong yesterday. And I ain't finna be walking around here with no droop shoulders, moping, head down, looking depressed, looking sorry, feeling sorry for myself. No, that's not me, kid. Did I do it? Absolutely. Do I take full responsibility for it? Absolutely. And because of that, I hold my head up. So when I was working with these fellows at Ruthie's, that's what I did. I took them through the program. I'm like, hey, look, I'm not excusing your behavior. I'm not excusing the crime that you have committed. But what I am saying is that's behind us now. And we're not going to keep using that for no excuse to live mediocre lives. We're not going to keep using that as no excuse to not excel and become successful. We're not going to just barely get by because we have a record. No, let's dust yourself off and let's get back to living. And one thing I like about my workshop is I try to take them all back to fifth grade immediately. First day of the workshop, we going back to fifth grade. And they were like, man, what's back in fifth grade? Fifth grade when we had career day and you had to write on that piece of paper the three things you wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wrote on the paper, I want to be a loser. Nobody wrote on the paper, I wanted to be a two-time felon. Nobody wrote on the paper, I want to be an alcoholic or a drug addict. I want to be a player, baseball, football. We wrote all these positive things that we wanted to be. And so I tell them, hey, let's go back to fifth grade. Let's go back and get those dreams. Let's go back and get that hope. Let's go back and get those plans. Let's go back and get all those things from fifth grade that we said we were going to be. And we're going to start working on that right now.
Yes.
In spite what you've been through, in spite what you've experienced, we're going back to fifth grade. We're going to find that paper. We're going to get it out the trash can. We're going to get it out the book bag. We're going to get it out the teacher's desk. We're going to get that paper from wherever we got to go get it from. We're going to unfold it. You know how when you got a piece of paper, something old and all balled up. We're going to get that paper. We're going to unfold that paper. We're going to read it again. Be like, man, I want to do this, that, and the other. And we finna start working on the path of success to get back those dreams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all, this is why I'm contemplating. They ain't even no contemplate. This is why I'm trying to rope this brother in because, I got a destination known, perception equals potential. That's what we're talking about, man. This is real SEL. There's a brother out here, he teaches trucking, and he talks about recidivism, what you were talking about. And he now goes back into the prisons, giving this program. And the real reason people change is because there's something in front of them greater than the thing that's behind them. You can't tell me about it, you got to show me how to get there. That's what we're doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ending this one tonight with this exceptional brother. One more time. Hold on. Let me take this light down so they can see. With the light in the way. Weekday remedy. Wait, where is it? What is going on? There it is. Now they can see. Now they can see it. Weekday remedies. David Gethers. Defy the odds. Check him out. The brother is positive. He's making a change. We need a change in our education system. We need to start building this in, like both of us are saying, from the early stages. Let's start for mentoring is a lifelong process. It's not just you're in school and you're out of school. You got to be committed. This is the key. You talking about changing. If you want to change your society, you got to change the people that are in the society. So thank you, David. I appreciate it, man.
So I'm gonna tell the people how they can contact me. So
there we go.
They can find me on LinkedIn, David A. Gethers. They can find me on Instagram, David A. Gethers. They can go to my website, www.defytheodds-dag.com. That's www.defytheodds-dag.com. You can go to my website. You can see videos. You can see testimonials. You can see everything concerning David A. Gethers. Or you can just go into Google and type in David A. Gethers, Getheis. And hey, my face going to pop up with Defy the Odds and all type of stuff that I'm doing. And hey, reach out to me. If you want me at a school near you, just reach out to me and let's make it work.
There we go. Hey, bro, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for making this first, the return to the stage, a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Night, man.
Man, you be
sir.
good, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You have a good one. Bye-bye.